What if I told you that inside the mind of a cheater lies the exact same thought patterns as a criminal? The psychological mechanisms that drive someone to betray their partner are eerily similar to those that compel thieves, fraudsters, and con artists to commit their crimes. My name is Sid, and today we're diving deep into the dark psychology of infidelity, and what you discover might completely change how you view relationships forever. Before we get started, I want you to think about someone you know who has cheated. Got someone in mind? Keep that person there, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what was happening in their brain when they made that choice. And trust me, it's not what you think. The human brain has an incredible ability to rationalize almost anything. When it comes to cheating, this rationalization process follows a predictable pattern that psychologists have been studying for decades. What they've found is that cheaters don't wake up one morning and decide to destroy their relationships. Instead, they go through a gradual psychological transformation that mirrors the mindset of career criminals. Let's start with the foundation of criminal thinking. Criminals operate on what psychologists call cognitive distortions. These are twisted ways of thinking that allow people to justify harmful behavior. The most common distortion is minimization, where the person downplays the severity of their actions. Sound familiar? That's because cheaters use this exact same mental trick. When someone is about to cheat, their brain starts working overtime to minimize the impact. They tell themselves things like, it's just physical, it doesn't mean anything, or my partner will never find out, so no harm done. These aren't random thoughts. They're calculated mental gymnastics designed to override the guilt and moral barriers that would normally stop the behavior. The second major cognitive distortion is rationalization. Criminals often blame their crimes on circumstances beyond their control. Similarly, cheaters construct elaborate justifications for their actions. They convince themselves that their partner doesn't appreciate them, that they deserve better, or that their relationship was already over anyway. The cheater becomes the victim in their own narrative, just like a criminal who blames society for their choices. But here's where it gets really interesting. Research has shown that both cheaters and criminals experience what's called moral disengagement. This is a psychological process where people temporarily shut off their moral compass. It's like flipping a switch that disconnects their actions from their values. During this state, behaviors that would normally feel wrong suddenly feel justified or even necessary. The pathway to moral disengagement follows 4 distinct stages. First comes the cognitive preparation phase. This is where the person starts questioning their current situation. For criminals, they might focus on financial struggles. For potential cheaters, they start dwelling on relationship dissatisfaction. The brain begins building a case for why the upcoming behavior might be acceptable. Stage 2 is opportunity recognition. Criminals scout for vulnerable targets in low-risk situations. Cheaters do something remarkably similar. They identify potential partners who show interest, and they seek out situations where infidelity becomes possible. The key difference is that cheaters often create these opportunities unconsciously, while criminals tend to be more deliberate. The third stage is emotional numbing. Right before committing a crime, criminals often report feeling emotionally detached. They describe it as watching themselves from outside their body. Cheaters experience this same phenomenon. In the moments leading up to infidelity, many report feeling like they're in a dream or acting on autopilot. This emotional disconnection serves as a psychological shield against immediate guilt and regret. The final stage is post-action rationalization. After committing a crime, criminals immediately begin reinforcing their justifications. They focus on any positive outcomes and dismiss negative consequences. Cheaters follow this same pattern. Once they had the affair, they often convinced themselves that it made them happier, helped them understand what they really want, or was somehow beneficial for their growth. You might be wondering why some people are more susceptible to this criminal-like thinking than others. The answer lies in personality psychology. Research has identified several traits that predispose individuals to both criminal behavior and infidelity. The most significant factor is something called antisocial personality traits. Someone high in these traits have difficulty forming deep emotional connections and struggle with empathy. They view relationships more as transactions than emotional bonds. This transactional mindset makes it easier to justify cheating because they don't fully grasp the emotional devastation it causes their partner. Narcissistic tendencies also play a crucial role. Both criminals and serial cheaters often have an inflated sense of self-importance. They believe they deserve special treatment and that normal rules don't apply to them. This entitlement mentality creates a perfect storm for betrayal. When someone believes they're special, cheating doesn't feel like a moral violation, but rather like claiming what they rightfully deserve. Impulsivity is another shared trait. Criminals often act on immediate desires without considering long-term consequences. Cheaters display this same pattern. They prioritize short-term gratification over relationship stability. The inability to delay gratification or think beyond the present moment is a hallmark of both criminal and cheating behavior. But perhaps the most fascinating similarity is how both criminals and cheaters view their victims. Criminals often dehumanize their targets, seeing them as objects rather than people with feelings and lives. Cheaters engage in a subtler form of this same process. They mentally distance themselves from their partner's emotions. They stop seeing their partner as a full human being with deep feelings and instead view them as an obstacle to their desires. This dehumanization process happens gradually. It starts with small criticisms and complaints. The potential cheater begins focusing exclusively on their partner's flaws while ignoring their positive qualities. Over time, this selective attention creates a distorted mental image where the partner becomes less worthy of loyalty and consideration. Environmental factors also contribute to both criminal behavior and cheating. Criminals often come from environments where illegal activity is normalized. Similarly, people who cheat frequently come from social circles where infidelity is common or even celebrated. When surrounded by others who cheat, the behavior starts feeling normal rather than exceptional. The role of opportunity cannot be understated. Criminologists have long known that crime rates increase when opportunities are abundant and consequences are minimal. Cheating follows this exact same pattern. The rise of social media and dating apps has created unprecedented opportunities for infidelity, while simultaneously making it easier to hide such behavior. Understanding these psychological parallels has important implications for preventing infidelity. Just as crime prevention focuses on reducing opportunities and increasing consequences, relationship protection requires similar strategies. Couples who maintain transparency about their interactions, set clear boundaries, and regularly check in with each other create an environment where cheating becomes much more difficult. The key insight is that cheating isn't usually about love or attraction. It's about a psychological state that mirrors criminal thinking. When someone cheats, they've temporarily adopted a criminal mindset where their desires matter more than their commitments, where their partner's feelings become irrelevant, and where the rules that govern healthy relationships no longer apply. If you recognize these patterns in yourself or someone close to you, consider it a red flag that requires immediate attention. Like criminal behavior, the thought patterns that lead to cheating can be changed through awareness and deliberate effort. The first step is acknowledging that these cognitive distortions exist and understanding how they operate. Remember that person I asked you to think about at the beginning? They weren't necessarily a bad person, but they were thinking like a criminal. And that's a mindset that destroys more than just relationships. So what are your thoughts on these psychological parallels? Have you noticed these patterns in your own experiences? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the hidden psychology of human behavior.